Hey, dear Tyler, good morning. How are you doing? I really hope you're good. I hope you're fine. I hope your week has been good. How was forgive and forget? Oh, I know that somehow there will be quite a lot of controversy about it. Some people will be like, I can forgive you, but forget never. Like, I'll remember, I'll keep your deeds ever before me. You get that to remind you of the things that you've done. For some other people it might be easy, but from the comments, the feedback that I got, I know that it's really helping us. Generally the whole series on forgiveness, it's helping us, right? Being a believer, and the fact that forgiveness is one of the tenets of our faith, it characterizes our whole belief system. The fact that God forgave us, right, and showed us his love through the death, the sacrifice of his son, Jesus. And then also bringing us into that same family, giving us his name, giving us his image, restoring us to his glory, and then also granting us access to, just amazing promises. And also giving us the privilege of his consistent forgiveness. When you think about the fact that our goal and our pursuit is to reflect the God that we love, reflect the God that we serve, reflect the God that we worship, we get to understand that it's important for us to actually imbibe the whole concept of forgiveness. Now, forgetting is hard. Like I said in the podcast, right? That was on Monday. It's difficult to forget things. Different occurrences in our life carry different weights, right? The gravity of one occurrence of one event, maybe it differs from another, right? Some are more grievous, some are more heinous, some are more scarring than others, right? Some are very trivial that, even without an apology, you could just, flip by it and go. But forgiveness is very, very important. And like I said, the parts that you can forgive, the parts that you can forget, right? It helps. Remember, part of the things that we said when we started the whole series is that offense naturally creates a hindrance for us as people, where you can't, tend to relate with people in good ways. A person may share a very, very pertinent truth, something very true, but because of the offense that you have in your heart against the person, it makes what the person says seem like a lie. And that in itself, it robs all of us of something great and beautiful, right? Your helper could be the person that you're offended with, and because you've kept all of those things in your heart, right? You've kept so much offense in your heart, you could actually, end up losing out of the miracle. Remember the story that I shared from that whole Lion King scenario, right? They had, reconciled. Simba and the other pride had reconciled with Kovu and Kiara. Kiara was trying to help Kovu's mom. Kovu's mom refused, because of the offense and because of how vengeful she was. So we could really miss out on a lot of things if we do not imbibe this character of offense and creating a certain level of pardon, even if it means up to forgetting some of these instances. But like I said, some of these things would stay with us forever. The thing is that it's important that you do not use it to judge the person. You do not use it to judge your relationship with the person, in as much as it is hard. You can exercise caution on a whole lot of things, but then your priority judgment, right, is not that event or that thing that the person did at that particular point in time in your life, right? But yeah, I'm sure God would help us. I have a friend of mine, Grace Christos, an amazing content creator, and we usually used to have conversations, just generally. And the most exciting part of our conversations, right, between Gracie and I, is the fact that we're just like 100% real. We just say it as it is. She's a very, very plain person, and I think maybe in this particular light, one of these days I'll get her across, and we'll do an episode together. I'd really want her to be physically present so that we could have that whole back and forth real conversation kind of thing. We'll talk about something that would really, really bless us, right? So let's just see how do they get to Lagos, or should we either come to Abuja, or we'll jam somewhere in the middle, right? So today we're going to be discussing, if you did it before, would you do it again? Now, it was inspired by this song by Ty Tribbett. If he did it before, he will do it again. Saying God right now, saying God back then. If he did it before, he would do it again. Saying God right now, saying God back then. Right. So, anyway, it's a nice song. Check it out, Ty Tribbett, if you did it before. Same God. I think it's Same God. Anyway, I think, it should be either one of those two titles. So today I decided, okay, let's talk about, if you did it before, would you do it again? Now, this is the stuff. Have you ever been concerned that the things that you have forgiven people for, that they would probably do it again? Have you also been scared for yourself that, okay, maybe I've been pardoned over something in my life before, and now I found myself that I'm a victim of it, or I'm prone to be a victim of it again? You see, the thing about trust, right, and relating with other people, is that sometimes our fear comes from the fact that if I give this person another chance, would they fail me? Are they liable to do the same thing over and over again? A friend of mine actually says this, and in some way I see a similitude of truth in it, that in some instances, right, when people say they're sorry, they're not sorry for what they did, but they're sorry for being caught. Because if they really had a heart that had you in mind, they would not actually do those things. And to some light, it's very, very true, But then there are certain things that people actually do, either because of upbringing, because of the community, their social system that engineered their mindset, their paradigms, and everything. There are certain things that may reoccur. So, for instance, right, let's use the classic example, toothpaste. You've got somebody that squeezes toothpaste from the middle, somebody squeezes toothpaste from the bottom. There may not be any right way, in quote. It just looks a lot smoother when you do it from the bottom. But imagine somebody that from growing up had always, squeezed it from maybe not the middle, but definitely not from the bottom. And they always did that. And you're living with this person. There's not any amount of correction that you would make that would probably change the person. Now, would you consistently and continually be offended in the person because of that? Like I said in the previous podcast, that different things mean different things to people, right? They carry different weights. So for you, the whole toothpaste thing may not be an issue, but for somebody, because they're so organized, they like things being done a certain way, it could be a real issue. So how do you handle that? Because if you have this assurance in your heart that the person is not going to do certain things again, maybe that they've apologized for, you've forgiven, and people have moved on from that side. If you have that assurance that they would never ever do it again, that maybe that ability to make that error was taken away, it will be easy to trust. But at the back of our mind, we also think, what happens if they do it again? Now, I learned something from two people, right? Apostle Selman, and also from a book that I read, right, by an amazing pastor, Pastor Chris Chukwunyere. I met him and his wife, Shola, at an event, right? Healing Room. That's with Rui, our therapist, right? Our God-inspired therapist. And, after the whole meeting, he shared his book. And one of the books that I got was Lead Your Way to Her Heart. And it's such an amazing book. It's really the whole series. There are other topics there, other titles. But the whole series is generally geared towards intimate relationships, right? Relationships that intend to lead to marriage, or those that are already in marriage. But there were parts of the book, right, that I really felt were applicable to just relationships in general. Now, there's this word called forbearance. Forbearance is the ability to know that somebody is likely to offend you and prepare room to accommodate that excess and forgive them beforehand. I don't know if that even makes sense. Forbearance, right, is that foresight that you know that this person is liable to do something. The person has apologized because they know that it's wrong, but because it's a habit, it's mindset, paradigm, thought, or something that was engineered in them, they would do it again, right? So you're fully aware that they would do it. They're liable to do it again. And you create that space for them to be able, for you to be able to forgive them if and when they commit that same action again. Now, forbearance is a big thing, but one of the things that Pastor Chris Chukwunyere mentioned in his book is that you have to be able to decide, especially when it comes to like love relationships. You have to be able to decide those things that you can live with and those things that you can't. There are things that an individual is going to consistently do, no matter the amount of talks, no matter the amount of conversations, they probably would never change. Can you live with that? Can you live with that? Something that I learned from Apostle Selman and quite a lot of other people is that men will always be men. Sometimes the high standards that we put for people are things that we too cannot live up to. Maybe because there are certain things that we've conquered or we're better at handling, but just feel that, like, I find it so easy to do. Why is it so difficult for other people to do it, right? So, like I said, the example, you grew up in a house where they squeeze the toothpaste from anywhere, just let the paste come out. While some other people, they grew up in a house where it was from the bottom, they were disciplined for doing it differently. Like in some houses, like some cultures, especially here in Africa, eating with your left hand is a sign of disrespect, or collecting things with your left hand is a sign of disrespect. But then for some other cultures, it's really not a big deal. And so what happens when these two cultures clash, right? When these two cultures clash, there is a tendency that there would be an offense at the instance, right? But then after that, right, you know that you're going to live with the person or stay within the community. How are you going to handle it? It's called what? Forbearance. It's called forbearance. And I think that it's something that we need to imbibe as believers, right? Now, I don't expect you to do it, right? Now, that's where the balance comes in. It's not like I'm anticipating, I'm just waiting for the time that you do it. You get, so maybe you're working, maybe you're working in, maybe doing something like house chores, or maybe you're washing plates in the kitchen, and you don't allow the plates to kind of like dry a little bit before you stack them up, right? So it's not like when you're washing, I'm just waiting, and then once you just drop, I'm like, hey, I knew it. No, forbearance doesn't even need to be spoken of, right? I think one of the best ways to show that you're really forbearing with an individual is, let's use the plates for instance, or let's use clothing for instance. So a lot of people wash, and after washing they find it really, really hard to fold their clothing, and sometimes they drop it on their bed, on the chair, couch, whatever, right? And maybe that's an issue for you. Now what you could do is, this is what forbearance is, where you know that because it's a habit that the person may eventually do it, and you come over, you see the person's clothes on the bed, just fold it and you keep it in the drawer, or put it on hangers or anything. Now, a natural, rational human being would be like, oh, okay, I know where I dropped my clothing, and this person did it for me, right? I'm going to try my best to make things better. And then the person, tries, first day, second day, they put their clothes, they fold them up and all. And then maybe one of these days, either they're in a rush or they're very tired, and then they just, quickly just drop it onto bed. They repeat that whole action, right? Forbearance knows that, yeah, it's something that they're struggling with, or something that they're not used to. They're trying to adjust. And then you try your best, you just do the same thing, you fold, and you're like, I'd helped you fold your clothes, or something like that. At least the person would understand that you're just helping. You don't have to come up and be like, you see, I'm tired of this, I'm tired. When, like I said, there's some things that cannot be outrightly changed. And so what do? You forbear. Tyler, I think one of the things that would help us is to create a very, very large space for people to commit mistakes in our lives. One of the things that I've learned from Apostle is that create an excuse for people's actions. Now, it's for you. That's one thing that I've figured out for myself. It's really for me. If I create an excuse for your actions, it helps me to quickly let go of offense and get things done. I can confront you about it, but because I have given you that excuse already, it helps me to be able to move on. Why did he shout at me? Doesn't he know I don't like shouting? People shouting at me. That's very offensive. And you know that the person may have, being this kind of job that is really, really demanding. It's really, really time consuming. He's in an aggressive, he or she, they're in an aggressive environment, right? And then the person, shouts and everything. You could create that excuse. I'm like, maybe the person had a rough day, and that's why they're shouting. The person didn't mean it. And then maybe after the long day and everything, once the person has calmed down, I'd be like, oh, I really hope your day went well. You really shouted at me and I didn't like it, but I was really concerned. Like, what exactly happened? Now that's what forbearance does. Have you seen where maybe a couple, like maybe one of the spouses, is seeing a reaction from their other spouse, and then they just know that, okay, something's up, and they're like, I'll just give him time. They may not be proud of that action, but they understand that this is what happens around a certain event in the person's life, right? And so I've accommodated the fact that you would be prone to do these kind of things. So like I said, it's really, really important for us as believers to create that space So like Jesus said, forgive 70 times 7. That's 490 times. That is, give space for 490 offenses in your life. It would help you, right? It would really, really help you to be able to overcome quite a lot of things and move on, right? And also help you to restore relationships quickly. I think it's pretty crazy if you would really sit down in a day and tally the offenses that people can make. I don't know. You should have other stuff to do. But the whole system, that whole idea that Jesus gave to us, right, is definitely helpful. Definitely helpful. Absolutely helpful, right? And so the question is, if you did it before, would you do it again? If they did it before, would they do it again? The answer is probably yes. And so what are you going to do about it? Especially if you've decided to relate with the person and all. Create that new boundary, not boundary per se, create that new system, you get that space for offense. Give them that room. Create that room for forbearance. Create that room for forbearance. Yeah. So, like I said, if you can't live with it, then probably don't relate. And it's okay. Love is a command, relationship is not. Right? But if you've decided to relate with people, then you must open up to them being helped. Alright, so I really hope that this blessed you and really inspired you. Right? So this is me signing out. Remember, I love you, I believe in you, and I'm always rooting for you. Right? Have an awesome day. Bye.